Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about some things that I wish I knew before I started traveling in hostels and solo traveling. I have stayed in a ton of hostels and done a decent amount of solo traveling, so here are the things that I've learned and the things that I know you should bring if you're planning on staying in hostels, and just basically all of the tips that I wish I had known like last year basically. So I have a bunch of sections and a bunch of stuff laid out on the floor that I'm going to show you guys, and let's get started. So I'm going to start out with picking and booking the hostel. So first, you definitely need to read the reviews. That kind of goes without saying. I recommend Hostel World. That usually has a huge amount of reviews from people. It also has a rating out of 10, so like you might look for a hostel that's like 7.5 or up, like you want a hostel that's got a decent rating. Also, Google has a lot of reviews, but then once you've actually picked a hostel, I usually book through the hostel's website itself. Price range is usually $30 to like $100, at least in Europe, so that's where I have my hostel experience, but it could be way less than that if you're elsewhere, so I don't have experience there, but that's how much I've spent generally per bed per night. I found that it's nice to book a flexible rate, especially if you're booking far ahead. I had an experience where I wanted to stay less time in one city and extend in another city, so it was good to be able to get some of my money back on that. So if you have the option to and you think you might have flexible plans, it would be good to book a rate like that. My favorite rooms that I've stayed in have been around 5 to 6 beds because people know that they will be staying with other people, but it still like isn't that loud. So when people come in, they expect that there will be people in the room, so they're not being loud, especially if it's in the middle of the night. I had a room that was only 4 beds, and it was me and my friend and then these 2 other people that came in at like 2 a.m. They didn't think there would be other people in the room. They turned on the light, they were loud. Oh, look, we were there. You know, it's kind of unpleasant. So I kind of prefer somewhat of a larger room, and also like space-wise, that room was so tiny. I would not recommend it at all. So just kind of look at the pictures. Usually hostels have pictures of the exact room you'd be staying in. So it's good to make sure there's like actually enough room for everyone's stuff and to be able to move around. I also prefer rooms that have private bathrooms rather than like communal hall bathrooms. But it is also nice to have like a communal bathroom that you can go to in case somebody is a bathroom hog. That can be an issue if somebody's like getting ready to go out or something and you want to get ready for bed. It's annoying. So it is both nice to have your own bathroom and also annoying, but like I prefer having your own bathroom because I feel like people are a little more cognizant of somebody waiting. In terms of location, in a city, I prefer to be near like the main train station because that's normally how I am traveling when I'm staying in a hostel. So like in Rome, you stay near Termini, or like in Milan, you stay near Centrale. I stayed near St. Pancras in London, like that for example, just so that when you're coming in and out, you're not dragging your stuff around far away. And also they generally have better public transportation that like goes to that train station, so it's nice to have access to that. Or like if you're taking day trips, it's a lot easier to be like right next to the train station than like in the main drag or something. When you're picking out a hostel, some hostels are more for partying, which is kind of more what I found, and others are for function. The one I stayed at in London was a lot more function. There were people there for work and field trip people, and that was obnoxious, but it kind of depends. Usually they're one or the other. A lot of hostels will have like a bar crawl or some sort of event where you can meet people. I've not done any of that. Usually I'm like in bed well before that, but it is an option if you want to meet people while you're traveling. Also, a lot of hostels have a restaurant or a bar attached or inside or across the street that is like affiliated with them, where you can meet people there, get some food, all of that. You also might have the option of adding breakfast on to your stay. I've never done that myself. I always cook for myself, but that could be helpful, I guess. It's usually not too much extra to add on food like that, so that is an option sometimes. Now on to like some of the things that I think are nice to have or necessary, like when you're looking at the hostel specifically. You need to make sure that they have lockers. This is absolutely necessary. You need to be able to lock away your stuff. You need to be able to keep your belongings safe. It's also nice to have curtains around the beds. I like to be able to shut them and have my privacy. It's basically like you have your own room if you have curtains. If you don't, it's a little meh. I like it less. So curtains are a big yes for me. Another big yes is having a kitchen in the common area. That is really important, especially when I'm cooking all of my own food. I usually don't eat out that much because it's kind of harder for me with food allergies. So when I'm cooking, obviously I need a kitchen. If there is no kitchen, it's rough. The place I stayed in London, which I would not recommend to anyone, they didn't even have a microwave that we could use. So we went out and we bought microwave meals because we thought for sure there would be a microwave. I thought there was a kitchen. There was not. We had to eat our frozen meals frozen because not even like at the bar they wouldn't even heat it up for us. So that was very sad. So yeah, it's really important for me to at least make sure they have a microwave or something, an area to cook, whatever. Not having free bag storage is a red flag from me. That place in London was going to make us pay to store our bags, and I was like, we're out of here. The good hostels, in my opinion, will let you store your bags anytime the day of checking in and anytime the day you leave. So make sure you look at that, because if they don't have it, it's just rough. Like, you won't be able to sightsee, or you have to pay to check your bags at the train station or something. It's just annoying. If you're already paying for a bed, just like let us leave our stuff for a few hours. Alright, next I'm moving on to the packing items that I think are necessary to bring when you're staying in a hostel. The first thing is padlocks. So not just luggage locks. I have these little luggage locks that I bring as well, but these are more for like when I'm leaving my stuff at the desk when I check it, or wherever their like luggage check is. But these are my luggage locker locks. So these are locks from a hardware store. They will keep your stuff locked in the lockers. Like, these would not fit on my bag zippers, but also some hostels have like different shaped holes for the locks, so that's why I have two, because some of them, I don't know, so like I have a more secure one and then like a smaller one as well. It just really depends. It's kind of hard to know ahead of time what the locker situation is going to be like specifically. So I have these for less secure applications, and then these for like the actual lockers. I also have a locking suitcase, so anything I leave in there can be locked up as well. Next, I always need a microfiber towel with me, even if it's on a trip where I'm also not staying at a hostel. This is honestly really nice anywhere, like if you're going to a lake or if you're going to the beach or something, just to have a towel with you. Some hostels provide towels, which is very generous of them. Others make you pay, so I just am like, I'm not gonna pay for a towel, just I'll bring my own. And this was like 10 bucks on Amazon. It's just a microfiber towel, so pretty small, pretty easy to pack. The next thing, which is absolutely essential, is an eye mask and earplugs. So this is my little like sleeping kit eye mask and a random assortment of earplugs in here, and bring extras because you will lose them. Oh my gosh, I just pulled the tightener off of the bag. Okay, I'll deal with that later. I also bring utensils. I don't have any of those here to show you, but you know what I mean. Some random plastic utensils that you can wash and bring along with you, just in case you get takeout or if you're cooking for yourself or something, to have that. I also bring a mini pillow, which I don't have my mini pillowcase with me right now. It's basically just like a long pillow that you can roll up a sweatshirt and put inside, so that you have something extra, because a lot of hostels, the pillows are just really bad. That same one in London that I really didn't like, the pillows were like that thick, and I had to use the comforter as a pillow because I really need like comfort for my head. So I ended up sleeping without a sheet. So I was just like sleeping there without a sheet. It was very sad. So ever since then, I have brought a sheet bag with me. This is basically just a like sleeping bag, but it's made of a sheet. I got it at Walmart. I think it was probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 bucks. Not very much. Very important in my comfort, so definitely invest in one of these. I honestly am not going to go to any more hostels without this. This is great. Another thing is like an S-hook to hang stuff up in the bathroom. You want to make sure your toiletries have some sort of like loop or hook on them so that you can hang them up, because a lot of times there aren't enough like things to put your stuff on. You also want to have that for your towel or clothes or whatever. I don't have one with me, but you can just like hang it on the door or whatever else there could be to hang your stuff on. Just usually there's not a lot of hooks or places to put stuff, and you don't want to put stuff on the grounds. I also last time brought this like belt thing. It's got little holes in it too, so I just put this around one of the like posts on the bunk bed and then through the handle on my suitcase, and then I locked it with these little locks just to make sure my suitcase wasn't going to get lifted, because it is newer and also necessary. Like if I unpack all of my stuff into the lockers, leave my suitcase out, I still need the suitcase, so I was just hoping that wouldn't get stolen, and this helped. Another thing that you can do is to have like a little chain to chain it up, or I just got this for Christmas because I lost the old one, but this is a ski lock. So it's just like a little chain, and it's got a code on here, and you just like loop it in here, put it in here, and have the code, so you can like lock your stuff a bit more securely, I guess, than this. I don't even know which is more. Ski lock could be helpful if you have one. I did use it at one point, but then I lost it. So you also definitely need shower shoes, because you don't know how clean that floor is. I just always have shower shoes. Another thing I got is a personal safety alarm. So because you're probably flying to where you're going, you can't have like pepper spray or whatever. So this is at least something for peace of mind. I'm not going to pull on this, but when you pull on it, it makes a horrible screeching sound, and the light goes off and everything. So you would just like hang this on your bag or something, and if you get into a bad situation, you just like pull on it and it scares people, whatever. I've not had to use this. I actually didn't bring it on my last trip, but I did on my first ever solo trip. So if you're traveling alone, you might want to have something like this. Another thing, if you're going somewhere that is a little more pickpockety, or if you're just worried about your like important documents being taken, you can have a money belt. You can just keep your passport in here, your like keys for your locks and everything. I haven't brought one of these in a couple trips, but I did use it on my first trip. I just use like an anti-theft fanny pack now, but like this was like the starter for that. But you keep this like under your clothes and everything, so nobody's gonna take it. Another thing is to have a plug converter that has multiple plugs on it, because normally beds in hostels only have like one plug per person. So if you have a plug converter, mine has like the main plug like that I plug in my laptop to, and then it has like 4 USBs, 1 USB-C, so like I can plug in anything that I need just into one plug. And then finally, this is more of like solo travel thing, but it also could be helpful in hostels, is just to have a phone case with a strap on it, so that you can always be attached to your phone. It's not going to get just taken from you. It's good for pickpocket situations. It's also just good for the hostel, I feel like. I think those are the main things that I would recommend bringing. I don't think I forgot anything, hopefully. But next I'm going to move on to hostel etiquette. It kind of depends on the situation, but there are a lot of just general hostel etiquette things that I would like to mention. So first, this is like common sense. Get your stuff organized during the day while people are awake, so that you're not being rude and being loud in the middle of the night. Like, I understand if you forgot something and you need to get it, but just try to be quiet. Like, people are sleeping. So I always try to, like, if I was going out for dinner or something and I might be back a little later, I try to get all of my stuff ready for bed and leave it on my bed, or leave it right inside my locker, so that I could go to the bathroom, shower, brush my teeth, whatever, get changed into my pajamas, get back to bed without like turning on a light or being obnoxious in any way. Sometimes also, this was more likely for me to be leaving early in the morning, so I would be like getting all my stuff ready for the next day the night before, so that I'm not waking anyone up at 6 a.m. Actually, I fear these are all common sense, but I'm gonna say them anyway. Keep your stuff in your own spaces. It's okay to put your stuff on the table while you're organizing whatever while you're there, but when you're gone, keep your stuff in your locker and in your bed, and that's it. Don't leave your stuff out in the common spaces. That's just not nice. Also, don't be a bathroom hog. That's all. Try not to have any loud phone calls in the dorms. If you're gonna have a phone call, go to the hallway, go to a common area, go outside, something other than your bedroom. Try not to turn on lights when you come in at night, especially if it's like 2 a.m. It does get really irritating to be woken up over and over again. Don't turn on lights, don't be loud, just do your stuff and go to bed, please. This one is kind of niche. Don't hang your drying laundry on other people's beds. This has happened and we're just not gonna do it anymore, okay? Next, I'm moving on to safety. This is kind of like traveling safety, solo traveling, hostel safety in general. If you have valuables, don't take them out in front of people in the hostel. On my last trip, I had my laptop, my cameras, all of that with me, and I just kept it away in my locker. So people don't know you have it, then they'd be less likely to try to steal it. So just try to keep it away. Also, don't go out alone at night. I just don't feel safe doing that myself, so that's my own rule. Always have your passport locked away or with you and have pictures of it just in case. You don't want anyone to be taking your passport while you're out of the country. It would really not be fun to have to get a new passport during your trip. That kind of would be rough. Also, you can pick a female-only room if you want to. I've done both, and definitely having female-only rooms for my first solo trip was good because I was a little less worried about it, but I have done both mixed and female-only rooms and both have been fine for me. So once you kind of get used to it, maybe you can move on to mixed rooms because a lot of times they're a bit cheaper to have a mixed room than a female-only room. But yeah, it's really just whatever you're comfortable with, but that is an option if you need it. And then finally, moving on to just specifically solo travel tips. For navigation, I use Citymapper and Google Maps. Citymapper is a lot better at public transportation and random footpaths. For some reason, Google cannot pick up on stairways and alleys and stuff. It just sticks to main roads. So if you're walking somewhere, Citymapper is a lot better at that. It also usually will show prices for public transportation, timings, and all that. So I usually honestly split between both of them. This is kind of just a general traveling tip, but I always read guidebooks before I go. Yeah, it's one thing to bring a guidebook with you, but I feel like if you read up ahead of time, you kind of know what to expect a little bit more. Another thing is don't be afraid to talk to people. Usually people speak at least some English, especially in hostels, but if you hear people speaking English outside of your hostel, at a tourist destination or something, you can talk to them. A lot of times they'll be happy to talk to someone, especially if you're somewhere, I don't know, I was in France and I did this hike and there was a British couple up at the top and we had a lovely conversation and we exchanged photos. Usually if there's a couple of people and they're like, oh, can you take a photo of us? They'll take one of you back. So you actually have some pictures to show of your trip. A lot of times you'll come back from a trip and it'll only be selfies the whole time if you didn't meet anyone. So just try to talk to people. It's helpful. Also, they might have recommendations for somewhere you could go or a restaurant or something like that. It's just nice to talk to people and get out of your comfort zone a bit. This one is really important. Always bring a portable charger with you. It is really not fun to be phoneless in a city or a country that you do not know. On my very first solo trip, when I was in Rome, I was out for the day and I did not know that I didn't have my portable charger, so I was using my phone battery as if I had one, and then my phone nearly died and I almost was lost and in the dark in Rome, and it was not fun. It was a little scary, but I did make it back to my hostel at 1% of my phone battery. But yeah, just don't fool around with that. Bring your portable chargers, make sure you have them, and then you'll be okay. Finally, tell people at home where you'll be each day and check in with them so they know that you're safe. That's kind of all that I can think of right now in terms of hostel and solo traveling tips. Let me know if you guys have any other tips. Definitely comment them down below if you have any other advice for people. So I hope this was helpful for anyone who is looking to start hostel traveling or solo traveling. I love it. I think it's so fun to go off to a new country and just experience it, but also go out of your comfort zone and stay in a hostel or go alone. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys later. Bye.